What is up? What is up? What is up, everyone? How y'all doing tonight? Let me know if y'all can hear me clearly. Let me know if my mic is good to go. And we'll get the show started. One second. Let me put all my stuff up. What's going on, y'all? Okay, sounds good. Cool. We good to go. All right. What's going on? I hope y'all enjoyed y'all weekend. Gonna do a show tonight. Tonight, we're gonna be talking about some things that I've seen over the week that I thought would make some interesting conversations with us. So, I want to talk tonight about ticket prices. Would you pay higher ticket prices to go to a SWAC game? I want to know y'all feelings on that. I want to know, do y'all think we should be paying more for the college football experience that we're getting? A lot of people are saying that with the bands and everything that you get from a HBCU SWAC game, that we should be paying more. What's going on, Chris Topler? How you doing? Ariel Hobson said, "How much we talking?" If you look at the prices from all these other conferences, I said something like $45 or $50. I wouldn't think that's too bad, because I think Jackson State games are like $30 now. Like if you buy a ticket at the stadium, I think it's like $30 if I'm not mistaken. So I think people will pay 45, but even with the other SWAC games like Grambling games, Southern games, like you should want to pay more, and it helps your school. The season tickets are low. Yeah, and that's crazy to me how low the season tickets are. I don't understand that. Like everybody should have season tickets. Everybody should have season tickets. But they're low to incentivize y'all to get season tickets. We need to pay more, but I also need to improve the overall experience. That's fair. That's fair. What kind of is what you need? What you think needs to improve in the experience? I think the goal should be selling more season tickets at a higher price. Yes, I will pay more because the heat is on. Yeah, I mean, a lot more eyes on the SWAC now. A lot of people are going to be coming to the games now. A lot of outside people are going to be, trying to watch the SWAC conference now. And in order for these institutions to make money, they might have to up their price. Terrence Grant says, Terrence Gant says, I'm paying whatever it takes. That's what I'm talking about. Prices is going to go up. The exposure just started to give it time. Yeah, with all this inflation going on, y'all would think that the prices would go up. Now, I'm not saying that they should go up drastically, but don't be surprised if y'all see a little increase in the ticket prices this season. That's all I'm saying. And I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would pay it because I want my institution to make money. So, you should be happy to pay a little extra, as long as they ain't, nothing crazy. But I think we should be okay with paying a little extra. Now, as far as seating goes, now I know some people had the conversation about seating. Like, should seating be assigned? Should we do assigned seating in SWAC stadiums? Because a lot of SWAC stadiums is get in where you fit in. Once you pay that ticket, that entrance fee is like, hey, wherever you sit is wherever you sit. First come, first serve. You know, or should we charge higher prices for lower to the field seating and sideline view seating? Should it be different prices? And should the security enforce the seating like they do in most stadiums? Now that would be something I think that would be harder for SWAC fans to get used to than the tickets going up. I think the tickets going up people will pay that. They'll be like, all right, it's just a few extra dollars. I gonna pay that. But the actual enforcing seating areas, I think that would probably be harder than anything. I'll pay 150 for a ticket. I'll pay way more for Texas game. Drusilla says, I totally agree with price increase. Do it by section and have tier prices accordingly if you want a higher profit. Yep. Yeah, that's why I agree. I mean, that's what most schools do. It seems like, we have this get in where you fit in thing. And I know we've been doing it for so long that it's just kind of what we used to, because you have some SWAC schools can't go up in price because some SWAC schools are having a hard time filling their stadiums, period. So they can't go up in price. But I think Grambling, Southern, FAMU, Jackson State, you got schools like that, I think can definitely go up in price if they wanted to. Terrence Gant, better seats, higher price. Yeah. Also, I want to talk about tonight. Do you all see Jackson State outgrowing the SWAC? Alumni seating on the 50-yard line, $100, lower deck 75, medium deck 50, higher deck 25. Hey, they don't sound bad to me. And the school would make a lot more money. Drusilla said, leave the seating alone. Yes, I would pay more. We're more in exposure and optics if the stadium is full. Did you see the improvements I mentioned in addition to what we need to improve the concession experience? Okay, now I can understand that. Should there be more concession stands? Because I think the problem I've seen at SWAC games, the SWAC games I've been to, is how long the concession lines are. So I think there should be more concession stands. We'll get on the Jackson State outgrowing the SWAC topic in a minute, but we're gonna stay on the ticket thing for right now. So yeah, the concession stand, the lines are extremely long. So that's something that they definitely need to fix. Um, and some people complain about the parking. Some people complain about the parking on the stadium grounds is high, but the schools have to make their money how they can. So I believe the ticket pricing being low, that causes the parking to be higher on the grounds. But definitely the concession stands, I think it needs to be more of them so the lines won't be super long like that. Jay Blue said, yeah, the parking can be trash. It is good possibility that having JSU is the face of the. I agree with prefer alumni seating offered to alumni that pay their alumni dues. That's a good idea as well. That would incentivize alumni to pay their dues. You get lower prices for your tickets. I got some good ideas in here. They need to be. I hope people in the SWAC office they're watching this stream, or somebody that knows somebody is in this stream and relay these messages because y'all have some good ideas. The improvements I mentioned, improving the clock, scoreboard, jumbotrons, replays. Well, most of the SWAC fields they have new scoreboards, so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. Higher prices would definitely affect attendance and the product overall. The masses are going to have trouble attending games. Yeah, that's the problem you worry about. You worry about like when people stop coming to the games because of the price. You know, that's one thing that you really have to worry about when you when you change things on people because people be like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to go to the game. It costs too much to go to the game. Even a $10 or $15 increase can change someone's mind. So you just never know. Concessions got long lines in every full stadium. That's true. But I think there should be more of them. There could be more of them so the lines won't be too long. Cause I waited in line for like an hour and a half for some food. Like, and I'm telling you, well, at least I wouldn't say an hour and a half. I'm gonna say an hour. I've definitely waited an hour. When I went to that Southern game in Baton Rouge, I was in line for so long. I left at the beginning of halftime. No, I left 4 minutes before halftime, and when I got back, it was third quarter. So I was gone for a while. What's the most you would pay? Depending on the game, like for the SWAC championship, I would pay 60, 70. If it's at an NFL stadium, I would pay I would pay some good money. If it's at an NFL stadium and I'm on the sideline close to the field, I would pay $80 to $100 for that. Now, if it's at a regular stadium, I would pay I probably would pay around $60, no more than around 60. Lines stay longer to buy you Classics. I bet. Under 18, 20, over 40. It's black people increase the price won't be beneficial. Man, black people got money. Can't say it like that. Black people got money and they don't mind spending it. You just have to make it something they want to spend on, you know? So I definitely think black college football is something that our people would like to would spend their money on. Cause you gotta understand, it's not just a football game. You put on your best dress, you go out, you might be able to meet your next wife or your next husband at the game. You know, so it's incentivized for a lot of us to go to the games. There's a lot for us to do at the games. You got the band playing, and you got all the pageantry of it as well. Southern and Grambling tickets need to be over $100. At the JSU Alcorn game, the food line was so long, we ordered backyard burgers. They walked them to us and threw them over the fence to us. What? Now that's the first time I ever heard something like that. Y'all order backyard burger and y'all got them to throw the food over the fence. Man, that is funny. DJ 85 there. You did what now? With all them recruits and good football at JSU, the price doubling wouldn't be a surprise. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have ESPN and all these other folks coming down, you know. Don't be shocked if Jackson State raised their price. Do we need to improve the tailgate experience and promote group or family ticket packages? They'll work too. If you buy 4 tickets, you get them at a certain price. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I cover SWAC content over here. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Trey Mack, you lost your mind. All right, so the next thing we're gonna talk about today is so do y'all see Jackson State outgrowing the SWAC? And what would that do for the SWAC if Jackson State left the conference? Me personally, I think the SWAC would still be a thriving conference because you still have FAMU, you still have Grambling, you still have Southern. So I still think the SWAC will be in good shape, but it would hurt if they lost Jackson State. I wouldn't say it wouldn't hurt if they lost Jackson State, but Southern, Grambling, and FAMU, they're great institutions, and they'll be able to hold up the SWAC while Jackson State is gone. But do I see Jackson State leaving in the future? I kind of do see them outgrowing it because you have to think about it. Jackson State, they're doing numbers like averaging 40,000, and then this season they may average 50,000, and then you having all this notoriety things like that, I wouldn't be surprised if a conference invites them, sends them an invite. They got to take their exposure with them. No HBCU needs to lead the SWAC unless the conference invited at least 2 of us. That shouldn't even be a thought leaving the SWAC. Somebody said, what conference? If it was FBS, I could see Sunbelt or Conference USA. I don't think anybody else other than that. Or if it's an FCS conference, which I doubt Jackson State would move up for I doubt Jackson State would move to an FCS conference. I think if they move from the SWAC, it would have to be a FBS conference if they move from the SWAC. But there's like stipulations with that. But I think Jackson State meet all the requirements. I know you got to have 15,000. You have to average 15,000 in attendance. You have to have a stadium that has a minimum capacity of 15,000. You have to have 16 sports, and Jackson State has 18 sports. So they definitely meet the requirements. Somebody says Sunbelt bands don't play soul music. Now, let me tell you, if Jackson State was to do something like that, they would have to have all of their out of conference games, in my opinion, all of their out of conference games got to be HBCUs. Like all of if you play 3 to 4 out of conference games, they have to be HBCUs. Their Southern game needs to be permanent, and the Alcorn game needs to be permanent. I would keep the OBC. I would keep the Orange Blossom Classic. And if you can do a 4th out of conference game, I would rotate that between Grambling and Grambling Valley, all the other schools. I would rotate that each year. But you definitely have to keep those HBCU games on your schedule. I don't see Coach Prime moving to a lower tier FBS conference. The question is, will the school invest? JSU ain't got the budget to compete at the FBS with a damn $10 million budget. Hey, with social media going on, you could recruit. You could recruit. They recruiting better than ULM and all these other schools now with the budget they have. You have to think about it. They're fielding a better team than ULM right now. If Jackson State plays ULM this year, or if they was to play ULM this year, they will smash ULM. I wholeheartedly believe that. Coach Prime is aiming to do something that has never been done before, turn an HBCU into an LBS school. Yeah, you have to understand that'll be a legacy move there. That will be a legacy move. Somebody said that's why ticket sales need to go up. Yeah, ticket sales help that. You can increase your budget when you're making more money. I thought Tennessee State was LBS before. I think they did it as an independent. If I'm not mistaken, I think they did it as an independent, and they only lasted a year, I think, and then they went back to an FCS conference. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. It's either them or FAMU. I know it's one of the two. Okay, yeah, LBS independent. Yeah, I know it's one of the two. FAMU or Tennessee State tried it. Don't forget the Southern Conference. Yeah, but I know when FAMU tried to do it, from what I've been what I read, a historical article I read, that when they tried to do it, the odds were stacked against them. They did it at the wrong time, and they end up having like I think 1 or 2 bad seasons, and they end up moving back down. But we in a new time, we in a new day where you have social media, You have these SWAC schools able to promote themselves better. They're able to lure top level talent into the conference, and so you can definitely do something like that now. But I'm gonna open up the phone line so you all can call in. I'm done monologuing. So I'm gonna open up the phone line so you all can call in. Give me 1 second. Let me put the number up on the screen. Let me know what y'all think. Get y'all opinions out. That's the number right there, 657-390-4814. The phone lines are open. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all tuning in. SWAC bud, when Jess you leave, remember what happened to the Negro. I understand I understand people not being cool with it. I see both sides of it because you want to keep the SWAC going because it's a dope HBCU conference. So you would like to see it thrive and stay, but you can't be mad if Jackson State wants to grow their brand bigger and compete, on the LBS level. You can't be mad at that either. All right, I got a call. Hold on just a second, y'all. What's going on? Call you live. Talk to me.
Hey, this is Gabriel from Memphis. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Gabriel?
Oh, nothing much. Just getting over this COVID. But anyway, so I guess tonight's subject is will we pay more? If the ticket prices go up for the games.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we should, because put it like this right here. Like all the other PWIs, even the other FCS bigger schools, regardless of who they play, they showing up every week and packing out. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we got to do the same thing. And then I was looking ahead for the schedule for next year, 2023. We do, Jackson State. We do have South Carolina State on the schedule for the regular season as one of the out of conference games. And I think
Texas.
What is this?
Texas State. I think it's Texas State.
Say it again.
I think Texas State.
Right, Texas State.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and then I don't know if you heard this or not. Like Coach Crime's contract is I think it's built in where if you get Jackson State to a higher conference, he also get a raise. Well, if you get them into a higher conference, I think they need to up this stuff to like at least $1 million a season.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to find a way, to accommodate them. But if they jumping from if he jumped Jackson State to a higher conference, yeah, at least half $1 million to $1 million a season. What you think?
Do you think that the fans would get behind that move? Do you think they would still show up as much as they're showing up now for games against HBCUs?
For the SWAC, right. See, that's yeah. I guess we are kind of fickle when it comes to that, huh?
Yeah. So that's the only problem I see is that you don't want it to be okay. Let's move to this conference, and then the fan base isn't happy about going to the games anymore. Now, I think Jackson State fan base may be a little different. That they'll still come up and show out because, as you see it with the Delta State game, they came to that one. But will it be like an Alabama State versus Jackson State, like that crowd that you had? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Even though that was homecoming, but the fact that it was Alabama State, they showed up like that.
Okay, but you know what? They still can mix it.
Yeah.
Some of the out of conference games, they still can play. They still can play the SWAC. A SWAC school. For at least one SWAC school for an out of conference game. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I said.
So
I said all the out of conference games need to be against HBCUs Because if you playing, well, at least 3, and then if you could do that 4th one, if you want to play a bigger college like a big time Power 5 school or something like that, you could do that. But I would definitely want at least 3 HBCUs on the schedule. So our fan base won't feel like we just alienated the SWAC.
Right.
So
I guess one last thing, and I'm gonna get up off here. Okay, so what conference, man, do you think? Okay, now I was looking at like Conference USA, thinking like Southern Miss.
yeah, Southern Miss just left, so
Shoot.
they're gonna miss that.
Oh, they just left.
Yeah, they're going to the Sun
Okay,
Belt. So
they're going where?
they're going to Sun Belt.
Oh, going to Sun Belt. Okay.
Yeah, so that Mississippi market is gone from Conference USA. So that could be, that could be something that they want to tap into. Who knows?
Or either the same conference that University of Memphis is in, because University of Memphis, I know they're in the AAC. Yeah, American Athletic Conference. So they playing Tulane. Now I ain't gonna lie to you now. Some of them teams like Navy. Ooh, that'll be a rough one for Jackson State. But like maybe the USA Conference, something like that, or like I said, even I don't know about the Sun Belt. I think Sun Belt a little bit higher than USA.
Well, it'll take some time. Like when you move up, you're just not gonna dominate like that. You're just gonna take some time. You're gonna have to recruit. You're gonna have to get the players in to compete in that conference, on a regular basis. But I think the way Jackson State is recruiting right now, I think that they can make a jump to a conference like that, and the players that they would get in after they make that jump, I think they will have a smoother transition than most schools.
And I think what Prime's trying to do right now, like you said first, dominate the SWAC. If we can dominate the SWAC, what 2, 3? Well, I say at least 3 seasons straight. Going to at least winning the SWAC championship 3 years in a row. Then at that point, like I said, keep getting recruits like we're getting them. Then at that point, we become the big fish in the small pond, and then it's time to move on. Then, see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Somebody said Big 12. No, I don't think that would happen.
Nah.
Now,
hell no.
Now, if hypothetically speaking, if JSU was to go to the Big 12, you're gonna have all those top players trying to go to Jackson State. Because think about it, you get to play in a Power 5 conference, and then you get to get the HBCU experience. Why wouldn't you want to choose Jackson State at that point? But you have to think about it. The Big 12 just added like 3 schools, though.
I guess looking back on it, especially on the defensive side,
yeah,
you're gonna have a whole lot of defensive players wanting to play for Coach Prime.
Mm-hmm. Now we have to keep Coach Prime though. Now if you don't have Coach Prime, then a lot of this stuff falls apart. This is indicative that Coach Prime stays at Jackson State. Now with the Big 12, they just added 3 schools, so I don't think they're gonna be trying to add any more schools because they just added UCF, Cincinnati, and somebody at BYU, and I think they added Houston. They added University of Houston as well.
Right.
And then Texas and OU is about to leave.
So I guess the AAC will be looking to add 3 teams in, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think they're gonna be down to 5 teams. I'm not mistaken. But they're like a dying conference. I don't think people would want to go.
Oh,
to
they
are.
Because that's
you talking about you talking about the ACC.
No. AAC, American Athletic Conference. That's where Houston came from. That's where University of Memphis is.
Okay.
And Tulane. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're only going to have 5 schools after that. Y'all can check.
Wow.
Because I know they just lost 3 schools. They just lost 4 schools.
So they only had like 8 teams.
Hold on, let me see. I could look it up right now.
I could have sworn they had. I think I could be wrong. I could have sworn they had like 10.
So they got 11 members now. They're about to lose 4, so they're gonna have 7.
7 left. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I don't know if they invited some new schools to come.
They probably did.
Yeah.
At least one to balance it out. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because I know. Yeah, a bunch of them are leaving though. Like 4 schools are leaving.
Mm-hmm. So I like I said, I feel like Conference USA or the AAC. You know, I think Jackson State really could compete. You know, with those schools, man. You know, that's because even though Memphis is FBS, how often do Memphis play teams like? I mean, how often do Memphis play Alabama? Hardly ever.
Yeah, that's true.
You know they'll play Mississippi State. You know they'll schedule them. You know, they might play Ole Miss every now and then. You feel what I'm saying? But they're not the upper echelon FBS team.
Yeah. But I got another call. I appreciate you calling in and tuning
all right, man.
in,
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate the call, brother. All right.
All right, be easy now.
Yep. What's going on? Call you live. Talk to me. Hello.
Oh, hey, this is Dre out of Charlotte.
What's going on, Dre?
I went to North Carolina. I went to North Carolina A&T, and you know when we was dominating and everything, and we outgrew the MEAC. So I think it's definitely possible. Consider that they win at a level, because sometimes you just can't take everybody with you.
Yeah.
As long as the president, the athletic director, and as long as they keep winning, year to year, I don't think it's not out of the realm for them to make a move up to a better conference. You know, I don't think they could go Power 5, but Group of 5, Sun Belt, CAA, or you know, whatever the conference is down south, they definitely are able to do that. They just got to win.
Yeah, because think about the attendance. Jackson State attendance is better than all most of those schools in those conferences. You know.
Yeah, but it comes down to winning though.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you don't think if Jackson State becomes an FBS school, you don't think that he's not gonna Coach Prime isn't gonna get the top level. He's already getting top level talent now. You don't think that if he has that FBS moniker on Jackson State, you don't think that these players not gonna flood Jackson State like that?
But also, what has to happen? They have to beat some FBS teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they've ever done that. The one thing A&T had on their schedule is, like, for 3 straight years, we went and beat FBS teams. We went to Kent State. We went to Ohio. Kent State is in Ohio. We beat them at home. We beat who else? We beat ECU at home. So they have to play FBS schools and beat them. Because I don't know if you're able to beat an FBS team unless you beat one.
So you don't.
I can't make the assumption.
So you don't think if Jackson State became an FBS school, the talent that they would get in, you don't think they would be able to compete right away?
But what I'm saying, you have to prove that you could beat one before you become one. I can't sit you like as an FCS school, they have to play an FBS school and beat one.
So when you watched the ULM game last year,
they still lost.
I understand that, but if you looked at that game, you couldn't tell who the better team was. Just the eye test.
Now, Grant, it was their first year.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, that's the reason why I said multiple years. You know, this is their first year. So, you know, their first year. But they need to challenge themselves and beat FBS teams. Because that's what A&T did. You know, I mean, that's just that's just what it is. Like we'll use Jacksonville State. They don't sit there and move up to FBS, like because you got to get offers to go move up to FBS. You got to get them offers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they
you gotta
saw
get the invite.
A&T was, they saw A&T was good in track. They saw we was good at basketball, and they saw our football team was competitive and playing and beating FBS teams as an FCS opponent. So they have to play and beat them. Getting close is great, but you have to beat them though, because the name of the game is to win. When we go on the road and beat ECU, our coach went viral. Bring me my money. That's A&T's coach beating somebody on the road. So as much as Jackson State fans or Jackson State may not want to go on the road and they want to have all y'all come to Jackson. Nah, they're gonna have to get on the road and basically beat an FBS team and get the money. So the line of thinking is gonna have to change.
I agree with some of what you're saying, but I just think Jackson State with Coach Prime, they don't have to follow those rules. I
They
think
don't,
I
but
think I think with no, hold up. I think with them having Coach Prime, a conference would look at that and like, hey, we want to have Dion in our conference. So let's go.
yeah,
We
that's true.
invite them because he
But
gonna put a spotlight on the whole conference, so they'll get something
right,
out of it.
but the key is for it to be sustainable.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's for it to be sustainable. So the thing is, okay, let's say they went to the Sun Belt. Let's say Dion coaches till 2030. Okay, it's after that. You see what I'm getting at? For them to sustain that.
But it's up to the AD. I agree with what you're saying, but it's up to the AD and the president to make sure they build the facilities up and they take advantage of their
Yeah,
opportunity. You have to build the facilities
I
up, get the players in, so it'll be sustainable even after Coach Prime leaves.
yeah,
You'll have a
because
great
yeah,
institution with great facilities that players will want to come to.
yeah. So I agree. Down. I definitely think that they, you know, I don't think talent. I think talent, on any given Saturday, they can beat almost anybody on any given Saturday. They just have to prove it, because that's what it comes down to. You know, you don't become national, because I remember when I was at A&T, I knew once we started sitting up there, uh, I was at that game when we lost to Chapel Hill, but Tariq Cohen had like 200 yards on Chapel Hill. So I remember when we started to beat everybody in the Celebration Bowl, and I knew, I was like, okay, we're not gonna be in the MEAC long. And before you knew it, because you just outgrow,
Mm-hmm.
and I always say every institution has to do what's best for them, and you can't take it as much as the SWAC as a whole may want to move to FBS. The reality is that you can't. The, you just They don't have the infrastructure. Some of them don't even have the leadership, because a lot of it comes down to that. People wonder why our track team is national, because of our leadership.
Right. So
So a lot,
let me ask you this. So go ahead. You was trying to finish your point. Go ahead and
yeah,
finish your point.
so my thing is, it comes down to leadership, because all that has to, like, FAMU is a great school, but their leadership, president, AD, and coach is not aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody at FAMU will tell you that, because all that comes down to leadership.
So Jackson State, they went undefeated in the SWAC last year. If they go 13-0 and dominate the SWAC this year, you're gonna have some people saying, "Hey, man, we might be outgrowing this." Like, because you're gonna have some people, especially if they do it in a fashion where they're blowing teams out. You're gonna have people arguing that, hey, it might be time for us to, move up.
Yeah,
Because
but what's going to need to happen is they're going to have to challenge themselves.
you saying,
Because as good as the SWAC is as a whole, it is getting better. Them extra 25 scholarships matter.
mm-hmm.
That's a big, because when you play FBS teams, most FCS schools, they're good for the first 2 quarters. It's that third quarter where they wear you down.
Yeah.
Because they just got more bodies. That's why, you hear Deion talk about how he wants multiple linemen on the defensive line so they can stay fresh. That's FBS.
I agree. That's
So
something that they have more depth. So that's something that when FCS schools are
that's a
playing
big
those
deal.
FBS schools, that is a hard thing for them to overcome.
That's that extra 25 people. In essence, that's a whole extra football. That's an extra 11 on 11. It's different. That's why I say they have to challenge them. So when I think next year they got like Texas State, that'll be a good. They also got ULM another year.
Mm-hmm.
Them are going to be the real test because they have to beat them. That's what playing close is great, but I'm pretty sure Deion doesn't want. He don't want no close losses.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have a problem with those
He wants
teams.
to beat them.
Honestly, I don't think Texas State they're gonna have a problem with Texas State. I don't think they're gonna have a problem with ULM next time they play them because those aren't good teams. They're not good teams. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. But it's good for them because you have to test yourself.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. So you have to see, like no matter how good we did in the MEAC, and we had one year where we went undefeated. We went 12-0, and that was playing an FBS school on our schedule, and we went 12-0.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible, but 1 year or 2 years, you gotta. I think A&T. I think we're like 4. I think we won like 4 Celebration Bowl championships, 3 in a row. Like 1 or 2 years is not going to be good enough. They're literally going to have to, I think next year on their schedule, they definitely need to me, it needs to be a lot more challenging.
I got you.
And everything.
But I got other callers. I'm going to try to go and get to them. I appreciate your call. Make sure you keep tuning in and following the channel. I appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. What's going on, caller? You live? Talk to me. Caller, area code 850. I'm gonna get to you next. Go ahead, caller.
Sorry, brother. This Muhammad, man, in Memphis.
Can you speak up for me? You kind of muffled. You kind of muffled a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is James here in Memphis, Tennessee.
What's going on, James?
So I'm confused. So why is all of a sudden now we want to try to move out of the SWAC and try to move another conference?
Nobody's saying
SWAC's
that.
growing.
Nobody's saying that.
I'm just saying.
We're just talking hypothetically.
Because the SWAC is growing.
Yeah.
Okay, the SWAC is growing. This is our time. We don't have to go and move nowhere because now I'm the one thing you made mention of, and I don't know if you ready to speak on it. If we did do that, then do you think we'll draw the crowds because this is SWAC. SWAC we draw the crowds because this is something that for us that we enjoy coming to and being around one another, enjoying the games. This is our time. We don't have to go join no other conference to prove anything. Now what Jackson State needs to do and other schools need to do just like Alcorn is doing this year. First game is what against Stephen F. Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're playing Tulane. Then they're playing McNeese State. The first 3 games. And I think next year, 2023 or 2024, they signed a contract with Ole Miss for the next 4 to 5 years. So we don't have to join no other conference. The SWAC is here to grow. This is our time. This is the SWAC time. This is our league for our children to come and get an opportunity to shine and move up and make their entrance into the NFL like it used to be in the 60s and 70s. See, I'm old school. And we don't have to do anything to prove nothing to nobody. Our grass is getting ready to get green this time, like Mr. Ford used to say. So I think that we'll make a terrible mistake if we try to move to other conferences. Just schedule games in other conferences and play and test your talents that way. Because we don't have to join other conferences to get quality players. There's a lot of quality players coming to the SWAC as it is, because they're starting to see that they're not getting the proper look. They're not getting the playing time that they need and they wanted to, and they get that opportunity in the SWAC. This is us, so we don't need to go nowhere. I think that'll be a terrible mistake. What you think?
I agree with that, but I would like to see the whole SWAC go up to the LBS or choose the best. I think there should be a HBCU conference on the LBS level. I think there should be a premier HBCU conference on the LBS level. I think we have HBCU institutions that have.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that have. Yeah. I think we have HBCU institutions that have the attendance. They have the fan bases that can really attract those players. So I think there should be, I think there should be an HBCU conference on that level.
Because you think it is attracting players. You don't think we're attracting players as we speak now?
Yeah, but I'm saying having an HBCU conference that can go, that can play other FBS teams, go to these bowl games on the FBS level. I think that would be dope. You know what I'm saying? I think there should be a premier HBCU conference on the FBS level. That's just what I think. I think that, because we have some of those schools that's on the FBS levels, they don't have the attendance that these HBCUs and the SWAC have. They don't have the attendance that Southern has. Well, they don't have the attendance that Grambling has.
Well, I think that should draw attention to some of these FBS and so they can open up and start inviting us to some of these bowl games. And that's only it's just like the situation with the NFL.
Appreciate the donation, Ms. Gowdy.
They didn't not because just because they didn't want to start that attention. The SWAC players going to the NFL because they want to keep those good talented players going to these, denominated white schools. So when Deion came and forced them, now, hey, look, we have good players too, so they had to. So the table's starting to turn because now a lot of these talented players are now starting to come to the SWAC. And so now, hopefully, they'll open up and say, okay, yeah, we're going to have to start going back over here and drafting like we did in the 60s and 70s. And because we got some players that can play regardless. And you're going to see that this year. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater now, SWAC, but I love
no, you
show,
good.
Man.
You good.
I welcome. I love your show, man.
I welcome all perspectives. Personally, I love the SWAC. I love the SWAC conference. I love FAMU. Right. I love Grambling. I love Southern. I love Prairie View. I love Texas Southern. I love all the schools in SWAC because I think it's dope to see two black schools come together and play a game. All these you got 60,000 black people in the audience. Everybody looking good, dressed to the nines. I love the culture. So I'm okay with the SWAC. But what I'm saying is, do y'all think that it's going to get to a point where a conference might come calling at Jackson State, and what do y'all think they're going to do? This is what this stream is about. I'm not saying that I want to see Jackson State leave. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if Jackson State continue to grow like this and put their spotlight on their program like this, somebody might come calling.
Well, let me say this now. I don't want to sound like no hate, because I love what Dion was a blessing to us, man. The SWAC, he was a blessing to the SWAC. I mean, let's not jump on the bandwagon yet. Let's see what's gonna happen, because I'm just gonna tell you right now, y'all are overlooking Alcorn, and I think y'all gonna be shocked with Alcorn this year. Don't y'all underestimate the big back over there now. He getting his boys together too. Now, one thing that Jackson State got above everybody else is security, is quarterback. And nobody can touch him. He's an NFL quality quarterback as we speak, and he's going to get better and better. There's no doubt about that. That's the difference. So don't underestimate some of these other teams. Like Jackson State just going to roll over everybody. I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Look, I'm gonna say this before I go line. Remember this now. I told you, watch out for Alcorn. Don't put them boys to sleep just yet. Don't put them to sleep just yet.
All right, I got you. I got another call, so I'm gonna go and get them. But I appreciate the
my
call,
brother. I enjoy your show, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. What's going on, Carly Live? Talk to me. What's going on, Carly Live? Talk to me.
How y'all doing, man? I just tapped in to end y'all conversation. It's Ryan from Florida.
All right, can you kind of sound muffled, Ryan? Can you talk into the phone for me?
All right. You can hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay. I just wanted to call in real quick. I kind of caught the tail end. Some people already made the point or whatever. But I just wanted to call in and just get some food for thought. We saying Coach Prime. We have to come to the realization that Coach Prime's only going to be here for 6 to 10 years, maybe, because everyone's looking for a better opportunity. He already interviewed for the TCU job and stuff, but that's anybody. That's with yourself. You're looking to be better in the next 2 to 3 years, 4 to 5 years. So he's always going to look for better opportunities. But with that being said, we might as well take advantage of the exposure and everything he's bringing to the university and update the facilities. Yeah, the boys' locker room and stuff looks updated and stuff, but what about the girls' basketball team? What about the boys' basketball team? What about the baseball team?
Well, the girls and the boys basketball team, they have locker rooms being updated as well. If you look at the website, they had phase 1 and phase 2 of the upgrades. They're doing a new locker room for the basketball team.
Okay, so then the conversation went on to we going to the Sun Belt, the AAC, Conference USA, and all that stuff. But all the sports, Coach Prime is doing good recruiting, and football is doing great. That's amazing.
Basketball
but we
doing
try to
good
go
too.
to these other conferences. We have to have our baseball team that can play on the level with them. The basketball team, the girls' basketball team, they're doing pretty good. But the other sports, the volleyball, and some of the sports we don't have, the golf and stuff, we have to update that so we can compete with them. It's just not Coach Prime. Yeah, we'll go beat Southern Miss, we'll beat South Alabama or something like that. But what about the basketball team? What about the track team? Are they able to do that?
So you don't think when a school, moves up, you don't think that attracts other players? They probably wouldn't have found them attractive on the FCS level, but they're not on the FBS level now, and then I get to go there and get an HBCU experience. You don't think that would be an attractive deal to some players?
Oh yes, that would be, but we have to get there first. But if it's just the football team, we take the football team out. What else do we have? The girls' basketball team. I think the soccer team won SWAC or something like that. I may be wrong, but I know one of the other sports won the SWAC too. But if you take away the football team, what do you have? Before we get to the FCS, the Sun Belt, AAC, what do we have?
I understand. Look, I understand what you're saying. I love the SWAC. This is hypothetical. What I'm saying. And what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, Jackson State, what they're doing, being on the cover of Sports Illustrated, putting the spotlight on the program like that, just they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Pretty soon, don't be shocked if another conference that needs another school come calling like, hey, do y'all want to join? Or is it possible for y'all to join our conference? What do you think Jackson State is going to say? You think they're going to be like,
That's cool. Go ahead.
do you think they're going to be like, nah, we good? Or do you think they're going to move? That's what this conversation is about. I'm not saying Jackson State needs to move. I'm just saying that what if a conference come calling? What do y'all think they should do?
Yeah, they should move up. But in the process of what I'm saying is, while we got Coach Prime, this is second year there. While we got the exposure, why they have the Sport Illustrated, why we paying X amount of dollars for tickets, hopefully they get a TV deal. While this money's coming in, let's go ahead and upgrade the facility, upgrade the campus, use football to upgrade everything else. And now when they come calling, we ready. We're not going up there getting the snot beat out of us in basketball or baseball, and we the clowns. That's what I'm saying. I'm all for moving up and getting more exposure to the school and stuff, but we have to be ready when they call. And the only thing we got right now is football. And the girls basketball team, they're doing pretty good. And then they're trying to pay the girls basketball coach. If they come pay her more money, who's to say she's not going to leave? Same thing with Coach Prime. You say Nick Saban retired after all this. He saved me some years. They call Coach Prime or Florida State. We want to use Alabama. Let's say Florida State. You don't think he'll go back to his alma mater?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but you can't complain about not being able to keep coaches if you're saying that you don't want to move up. You know what I'm saying? Like moving up, you get more money from the conference when y'all share profits. You get more money, and so you're able to pay your coaches more. So it's a benefit for that. So you can't say that you can't complain about coaches leaving and you want to stay stagnant.
No, it's not that. What I'm saying is take advantage. I'm not complaining about leaving. Take advantage because the next coach, there's only a few people that can draw the attention that Coach Prime Dion is drawing. So our next coach, he may be a good coach, but he's not gonna get the attention that Coach Prime gets. He's not gonna have the resources that Coach Prime has. That's what I'm saying.
I understand, but what Jackson State should be focused on is trying to do whatever they can to keep Coach Prime. Do whatever they can to keep him. And if he wants to move the school up to another conference, hey, you got to do it. You got to do it.
But once we move to school, we move into other sports too. Football should do good. He's a great recruiter. Travis Hunter, Coleman, a lot of these transfer guys, he's great. Hands down. Taking nothing from him. Making the university look great. Understand him. What about the rest of the sports? Outside of girls basketball.
Like I said, when you move up, you're gonna have other players that's gonna look at Jackson State as a viable destination for them to play on the FBS level. So you're gonna get those players, especially the black players. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, shoot. Say for instance, like Conference USA. All the players in the Conference USA, okay, Jackson State move over to Conference USA. They're gonna be like, oh, we got an HBCU in the conference now. Let me go on over there so I can get that HBCU experience, and I still get to play in the conference that I'm playing in already. You're gonna have some kids thinking like that.
Yep, but this my question is you. Are those kids gonna feel the same way when Coach Prime leaves?
See, why we always got to go to the worst case scenario?
No, it's not
like
worst. We don't eventually happen.
Like this is just like entering a relationship and you already talking about the divorce or breakup. Like you should be thinking about the good that you could do now. Like, okay, we'll cross that bridge when it comes. We don't know if Coach Prime gonna leave. Coach Prime could leave next season for all we know. This could be his last season. Coach Prime could stay 6 more years for all we know. We don't know. So we can't focus on what we don't know. We can focus on what we do know.
But anything you do in life is pros and cons. Anything you do. So you're right. We should keep them. But are you supposed to be proactive or reactive? So you're saying don't think about it, enjoy it. Yes, of course, enjoy it. But it's going to happen. Whether it's next year, like you said, or it's 10 years down the road.
I see what you're saying, but I just hate when we focus on when he's gonna leave. Oh, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. We don't know what he's gonna do. We don't know. He could see this as something that he wants to be for a long time, and he could see this as a place that he wants to retire. He always say that he don't care about the money. The money is nothing. He always say, I'm getting money. You know. Now, if he got offered a job like Alabama or something like that, yeah, I think he would go. But I don't think he would go anywhere for like a TCU. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going to TCU. If he leaves Jackson State, he's gonna go for like a tip top job. It's gonna be one of the top jobs in the country. He's not leaving for a regular job. Well, regular
I don't want him to leave. The
LBS
only
school.
thing I'm saying is it's not like when he's leaving, We know he's gonna leave. The only thing I'm saying is let's take advantage. Let's support the team while we're here, buy much we can, spend much we can, and hopefully the people in administration, president, they update the facilities for all the other sports. And then if he does leave, we do go to a bigger conference, something like that, we'll be ready.
Appreciate that donation, JJ, to mine. Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I just hate when we focus on negative. Like, it's just like getting in a relationship saying, like, oh, what if we break up? What if we break up? Like, you get married and you already thinking about the divorce as soon as y'all get married. Focus on now and how best you can make this relationship work for the betterment of, the relationship. So that's what I feel like we should be focusing on.
1,000%.
But I appreciate.
I just wanted to put that out there. We about jumping conference stuff. We just got to make sure all sports are ready, just not football.
All right, I agree. Appreciate it. Thank you for the call.
Appreciate it, boss.
All right. Somebody said we always so negative. Yeah, I just hate how we always think about the worst case scenario. We do that all the time. Worst case scenario. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Phone number 657-390-4814. Phone lines are open. You can call in. Let me know what y'all think. Now, this is all hypothetical because if people get mad like, oh, you want us to leave? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I love the SWAC. Don't get it twisted. I love Jackson State playing FAMU. I love Jackson State playing Grambling. I love the SWAC. But what I'm saying is if Jackson State continue to grow and put that spotlight on themselves like this, another conference may come calling. That's all I'm saying. And what do y'all expect them to do if that happens? In 1 second, I got a call coming in. What's going on, Caller? You live? Talk to me.
Hey, bud, this is Gabriel again.
What's going on, Gabriel?
Look here. It's like this right here. Like you said, it's all just hypothetical and everything, and people were making good points. Okay, what if Prime does leave? Now, if we, like the dude was saying, take advantage of him, while we got him right now, make the program a winning program, that way we can attract other good coaches like Prime. Say like Ray Lewis or Ed Reed. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, so like you said, it don't always have to be negative. And then I think somebody else was saying, possibly, playing, like you say, other FBS schools for out of conference games. That helps too, especially when we trying to get our players to the next level, to the NFL. That's exactly why. What's his name? James Houston got drafted in the 6th round instead of like the 4th or the 3rd. Because of the level of competition that we had this past year. So it's not the fact that white ice is always the cooler or the coolest, but that's what they base the conference. I mean, that's what they look at the measurements on. Had we played, say, like University of Memphis, Tulane or something, like you say, South Alabama, one of those schools, and beat them, and James Houston had a good game. They'd be like,
Yeah.
But damn, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you'll have people that are going to push back and say, well, we can schedule those teams in the SWAC and just make those our conference game. We don't have to move to play those teams.
Right.
So what would you say to that?
Right. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. But like I say, and like you were saying, we can't stay stagnant. There's like you say, there's gonna come a time, and I do believe that Jackson State is going to keep getting better and better and better. I'm not saying this year, I'm not saying next year. Maybe 2 to 3 years from now, somebody's gonna come a calling. And like you say, what do you think Jackson State gonna do? Say yay or nay?
Yeah, I think they might take that deal. I think they might take that deal.
Me too.
Especially if the conference is okay with them scheduling HBCUs for the out of conference games, they can get like the best of both worlds.
There you go.
So
we were talking about that earlier. There you go. Hey, especially on your homecoming games, you got to schedule a HBCU for your homecoming.
Yeah.
Just to have that experience, you got to schedule HBCU for the homecoming. Like you said, we still can schedule HBCU teams, schools for our out of conference, and I'm like you, schedule what you say, at least 3 to 4 out of conference games, the rest of them conference games, and maybe have like at least one SWAC team, because like I said, everybody ain't gonna be able to go.
Yeah.
So at least one SWAC team, in there, But yeah, that's all I got to say about that, though.
I appreciate the call.
All right.
So when I say, like the schedule, so let's look at North Carolina A&T schedule, so y'all can get a picture of what I'm talking about. Because I looked at their schedule a while ago. Their schedule is really interesting. So North Carolina A&T played North Carolina Central. They play South Carolina State. They play Edward Waters College. Well, Edward Waters University now. They play Norfolk. So they play 4 HBCUs on their schedule. And they also play Duke. And they play the rest of their conference that they're in. So they still play a lot of HBCUs, even though they're in the conference they're in now. So that's what I mean by, you can kind of do the best of both worlds. But will Jackson State fans come to those games against PWIs? That remains to be seen. That's the only thing about it. I think JSU would say no, they stand in the SWAC. If someone calls, I think JSU would definitely say yes. TV money, playoff opportunity, national championship opportunity, yes, please. Plus, their SWAC schools still can be played. Avis said North Carolina A&T is a sellout, and everybody that plays them is a sellout. Wow, man. Tell them how you really feel. Texas A&M beat a SWAC team, duh. Mr. Ford supposed to be calling in tonight. Let me make sure, Mr. Ford. Let's see if we can get Mr. Ford on the show. I know I talked to him earlier, and he's supposed to be calling in. Hold on, I'm gonna call Mr. Ford real quick, y'all. What's going on, Mr. Ford? You calling into the show? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You listening now? Yeah, you call in. Call the number that's on the screen. All right. Yeah. All right, Mr. Ford gonna call in, y'all. I think JSU move up. I think the only way JSU will move up is if some SWAC schools are coming along. I think FAMU will be a good school to pair to go up with Jackson State if they did do that. Hold on, let me get this call real quick. It's Mr. Ford. What's going on, Mr. Ford?
Hey, this is Mr. Ford. How's it going?
Hey, it's going all right. So, Mr. Ford, we've been doing all
Okay.
this talking about the topics today. So,
Yeah.
do you think that if Jackson State keep doing what they're doing, making their brand as big as they're doing, do you think another conference will come calling in the
Well,
future?
here's the situation. Here's the situation with all this. Okay, now the highest budget in the SWAC is Prairie View. Prairie View spends $19 million. Okay, I think Jackson is between what, 7 and 9. Isn't that right? What do they spend in their budget? What's their athletic budget?
I think they said 9, maybe 9.
9. Okay. For you to go, I keep hearing people talking about the Sun Belt. The average budget in the Sun Belt is between 25 to 30 million. I know here in Atlanta, Georgia State is in the Sun Belt. It's I think they spend 30 million. I don't know if they've gone up, but the last time I checked, they were spending 30 million on athletics. If these schools, if these SWAC schools are thinking about going up to FBS, they've got to almost double or triple their budget. Now, here's the thing I keep telling everybody, okay? The SWAC does not dominate the FCS. Yeah, we win the attendance, but if you look at the top 10 schools or look at the top conferences in the FCS, we don't dominate those people. So I know we, like you said, we're getting the good players, we're getting the 3, the 4, and the 5 stars and all that. But what about the budget, the money? Because when you start talking about athletics, it's all about money, okay? And if Jackson State is going to go FBS, that budget's got to go to at least $20 million. Is President Hudson willing to do that? Is AD Ashley Robinson, is he willing to do that? It's about the budget. And like these people are saying in here, yes, North Carolina A&T had their first losing season in 10 years. Okay, they went to the Big South. Okay, after this year, they're going to go to the CAA. I'm telling you now, they're not going to win in CAA, in nothing. They're not going to win in basketball. The girls or boys, they're not going to win in football. They're not going to win in baseball. And listen, unless they get a big-time replacement for this Ross man who just left and went to the University of Tennessee, they might not win in track and field. So what I say is, this is really the second year for Coach Prime, for Coach Sanders. Keep building the SWAC. One of the things we always do, we want to stop building our house and go build a white man's house. Build your own house. Do for yourself. Now, it was something else you was asking me about. It was another one. Oh, now let me just tell you this about these ticket prices. You know, the AJC here in Atlanta just came out with the economic forecast for this fall. Mm-hmm. Guys, do you know they saying that by September or October, gas could be $10 a gallon? Do you know this?
Wow.
Do you know that they're also saying that we have a diesel shortage? Did you know that our food is moved by diesel? Most of our food is moved by these transfer trucks that run on diesel, and we got a diesel shortage. And now we're talking about raising ticket prices. We better look at that very carefully. Now, let me just say this too. Before I get off this line, I want to say congratulations to Jackson State and to Coach Prime and those for getting on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But one thing you have to understand about the Western media, especially the American media, they like building black people up, and then they really enjoy tearing them down. Always remember this. In 1964, the power structure in this country got their money together so that Dr. King could get the Nobel Peace Prize. That was 1964. In 1968, they conspired to have his brains blown out on the balcony of the Lorraine Hotel. Now, what am I saying? What does that got to do with football? I'm saying to Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Aubrey Miller, Nugget, you on the radar. You better watch what you're doing. If you're doing anything immoral, stop it. If you're doing anything illegal, stop it. Who would have said a year ago that the New York Times would have written an article like they did last week and basically said that Deshaun Watson is a perverted freak who takes his perversion out on women? Who would have ever thought of something like that 2 or 3 years ago? So I'm saying to you people, you football players at Jackson State, watch your step. The paparazzi is real. They watching everything that you're doing because they have built you up, but they will take their time to tear you down. Did you have any questions for me?
No, I mean, you pretty much said everything. I agree with everything you said. You know, I definitely would like to see the SWAC being built up. Me personally, I would like to see the SWAC on the LBS level. I would like us to have a HBCU conference on the LBS level, so that way we can have one on the FCS level, and we can have D2 HBCU conferences. I think we should have one on each level. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the money. And let me just say this. You can't be on FBS, the FBS level, and you're talking about you only spending $7 and $8 million. If you're going to be on the FBS level, your athletic budget got to be $20 million. It's got to be $20 million. See, here's the thing, guys. You got schools like Villanova who play 1AA football or who play FCS football. Their budget is $58 million. These are the people that Hampton's got to go against. These are the people that North Carolina A&T got to go against. You're talking about Delaware, the University of Delaware. They spend like $30 million on their athletic budget is $30 million.
But so what you think goes through the process? What do you think goes through the mind of a president that goes to a conference like that? Do you think that he's thinking that with the money that we make from coming into this conference, we'll be able to increase these budgets that we have? Because there has to be a way that they're thinking to even go there.
Let me tell you this. You know, I was listening to a lot of y'all talking about we need to go FBS and we need to go up to a bigger conference. It's an illusion of grandeur. See, we haven't learned from Tennessee State. Okay, Tennessee State, like you said, they were independent at one time. They were Division I. They were independent. Then I think in the 80s, maybe 81 or 82, they joined the FCS. At that time, it was called 1AA. Okay, they did compete pretty good. I think in 82, they went to the semifinals. They were put out by Eastern Kentucky in the 1AA football championship. I think they went to the semifinals.
Caller 817, I'm going to get to you next. Go ahead, Ms. Ford. You finish.
Okay, so here's the thing. Right now, we don't spend that kind of money. Like I know one of your callers hit it on the head. Let's see if we can, before we start talking about jumping to the FBS, let's beat Stephen F. Austin. Let's beat McNeese State. This Texas State, that's going to be a good measuring stick. Okay? Let's see if we can be dominant in the FCS where we are now before we start talking about jumping to FBS. Okay, now they got all of the preseason polls out for FCS. Is Jackson State in the top 10? I know that they're in the top 25, but are they in the top 10? No, they're not. Let's get dominant where we are.
I understand.
Let's be dominant where we are. Okay? You went through the SWAC, right? You went through the SWAC. You went undefeated in the SWAC. You went to the Celebration Bowl and got demolished by a school with less than 2,000 students. Isn't that right? Didn't South Carolina State embarrass you in the Celebration Bowl?
That's true.
Before we start going FBS, can we win a Celebration Bowl? Can we do that?
That's true. Well, like I said, I still wonder, like, what these presidents think when they're moving up to these conferences, because there has to be a reason that we don't know, that we're not privy to.
That's the problem.
That's going on.
That's the problem. They're not doing their research and development. They're not doing their research. That is the problem.
All right, let me get this other call. You want to stay on hold, or you want to get off the phone?
Okay.
You want to stay on hold? All right, hold on. All right, Carly, you live. Talk to me.
Hey, what's up? I just was calling just to, give my opinion on both of the questions that you had tonight, and I think it's a very good discussion. I just think these are two big decisions that are being made with a small sample size. I think, like, to make these decisions, you need a larger sample size from Jackson State to really come up with, like, a reasonable answer. I feel like as far as the ticket prices, although historically Jackson State has had good attendance, last year they had really, really good attendance, but that's a one-year sample size. And then also the fact is we have a lot of rivalry games, a lot of classics that compensate for those numbers, that overcompensate for games where we still didn't have great attendance, where we still, visually just looking at it, it was largely empty. I think what the better thing would be to do is to keep things as they are now, as they stand now from that price point, and build the fan base, build the attendance consistently. And once you have that consistent fan base of where you can have 50,000 or more, then that's when you raise the prices. Same thing with the moving conferences. I personally would rather Jackson State stay in the SWAC, permanently. But those decisions, as far as leaving the SWAC and going to a different conference, those are built off sustained greatness for years and years. They don't extend invites off of one really good season or even two really good seasons. It's a continued level of excellence that you have to have at this FCS level before someone's going to extend that invite, and that goes beyond just your reach commercially, as far as just whether your popularity on social media or things like that, which is great, but it's going to take more results for us to make those jumps. I feel like, in my opinion.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So do you think with the changing in the college landscape that, because I see a lot of conferences getting desperate, they just inviting whoever now. Like, they just inviting teams, because what Texas and OU did, they kind of created a ripple effect in college football. So that's why you see those Conference USA teams left. They got they any other time they wouldn't have gotten invited to the Sun Belt and all these other, and Big 12. Come on, UCF going to Big 12. Who would have thought that? They're nowhere near even close to any of the other schools in the Big 12.
You're right on that. But there's a Nas line where he says, "By the time you can afford it, the car ain't important." And that's how I feel about these invites to these conferences. The Big 12 is not the Big 12 of old, where they had A&M, Texas, OU, Arkansas, all those big schools there. The Big 12 does not hold the same weight that it does and that it used to. and a lot of these conferences that we would even be talking about moving to, as far as I guess maybe getting on ABC or some of these big networks, maybe. But what I'm saying is, I look at those actual schools that are making those moves and those jumps, and I don't think their name has the same cachet that Jackson State has right now. I don't know what moving to Conference USA, the Southland Conference, really does for Jackson State that they can't do right now collectively with the SWAC. Like, and I think we need to pat ourselves on the back and see the momentum that we have going to where I value what the SWAC is doing so much to where I would not trade that to go to a mediocre FBS conference. Now we're talking about like the SEC or something. I get it, but it's not that. These other conferences are not that. The college football landscape, like you said, with Oklahoma and Texas joining SEC, it's pretty much now it's SEC and everybody else. And then you have us in our own little world that's able to create this buzz that's completely unique. And I think we need to appreciate the unique experience that we have right now, which HBCUs, and that's what we need to be selling. Like, I think the unique experience that we have with these other HBCUs and how compatible we are has way more value than going to a mediocre Group of Five conference or even the Big 12, to be honest, because the Big 12 is not the Big 12 anymore as we know it. So that's my opinion. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I love the SWAC. I like the way it is, but I just want to be us to put it on each other's mind that, hey, if Jackson State continues to build their brand like this, if they dominate the SWAC this year, if they dominate the SWAC next year, do y'all think that someone's gonna come knocking? You know, and what do y'all think Jackson State would do if that opportunity present itself? Would y'all want them to stay, or would y'all be okay with them leaving? And what does that do for the SWAC if they do leave?
I think it depends. See, that's a very good question, and a lot of that I can't answer because I think the answer to those questions gonna lie in the next couple of years. But what I would say is, my hope is that the SWAC grow. It's not for. I'm a Jackson State fan, so I'm gonna be honest. I came on with Dion, admittedly, so I'm not gonna act like I've been here for years and years and years. But I'm a Jackson State fan. But as I came in, I've become a fan of the SWAC. So my goal is not to see Jackson State just dominate. It's to see. I want Jackson State to win, but I want the conference to grow as well, to where there is no need to go. You get what I'm saying? And that's really what my goal is. And I think if the conference grows in the next 5 years and the movement is going how we want it to go and we think it's gonna go, um, I don't think Jackson State will leave. I really don't think Jackson State will leave. I think they will stay unless something miraculous happens and the conference is elevated to FBS. But another reason why I don't think that Jackson State will leave is because I think once the NCAA and FBS acknowledges what Jackson State is doing on that level to where they get invited to FBS, that's where the Nick Sabans really get scared. And that's where, I don't think they want to put their what they see as their competition and their rival on the same level as them and elevate them, because once we do get to that Power 5 level and they invite us over to that, then it could be a full-blown takeover by then.
So,
because I don't think they will want to. I don't think Alabama wants to compete on the same level as Jackson State. And if Florida A&M is able to grow and be able to compete and be what South Florida was a couple years ago, that changes the whole ball game as far as Florida recruiting is concerned. I don't think they want these HBCUs coming in and be in direct competition like that, honestly.
So you have people saying that, Coach Prime, we have to keep Coach Prime. And so they went undefeated last year. They went undefeated. They didn't lose a game against the SWAC last year. If they go undefeated this year and they go undefeated next year, how are you going to keep him? He's going to feel like it's no challenge. Like, he's going to, naturally a competitive guy like him with a competitive spirit like he has, he's naturally going to want to, he's going to want to test himself. He's gonna want to go like, okay, we're going undefeated in the SWAC. We're dominating teams in the SWAC. Let me go see what we can do at this other level, you know. And so I think that will push him to want to move up more than anything. Because think about it, if they go undefeated and demolish teams this year, it's gonna cause a ripple effect. Either the SWAC is gonna have to get better, or it's gonna be a change. I think it is.
I think I see what you're saying. And as far as wanting to, move up as far as competition, first of all, I think those are very big ifs. I'm not saying I personally think Jackson State is going to be the best team in the SWAC this year and for years to come. But that has not been proven yet in a large sample size. We cannot overlook and act like we dominated the SWAC last year. Yeah, we won the SWAC, but little Mississippi State gave us everything we wanted. There were so many. Southern was a miraculous comeback away from losing that game. We were not dominant to where we can assume that we're going to be dominant 2-3 years ago undefeated. That hasn't been proven yet. And I think, as far as Dion wanting to go up, I think Dion has the right mindset from what he stated to me. He wants to dominate the SWAC, and I even from other stuff that he said about Prairie View facing Texas A&M and taking these money games and stuff like that, I think he's very careful about, I don't want to do anything until we take this step by step and we're actually ready to do so, and we're healthy enough as a program to do so. So I don't think, he would make any decision like that unless we first start dominating the SWAC. Then we have out-of-conference games against other FCS top opposition, then other FBS opposition that we're winning consistently before he would make that decision. And then another thing we have to get past, too, is Jackson State in the SWAC. I think we have to, as far as this movement, it cannot be solely dependent on Dion. That's not healthy for us, period. And I think what Dion, and this is me assuming, so this is no evidence whatsoever to say this.
1 second before you finish your point. 1 second before you finish your point. Hey, y'all, let's get the likes up, man. We can at least get to 180 likes. We got over 200 people in here. Let's try to get to 180 likes. Also, call the area code 225. You can call back, and I'll put you on. I know you was on hold for a good minute, but you can call back and I'll put you on. My bad about that. You can go ahead and finish your point.
Oh, what I was just gonna say, you know what I'm saying? We have to get beyond just Dion, the health of our program and the success of our program, and the movement, the HBCU movement has to go beyond Dion. Dion has been great. He's continued to be great. I'm gonna continue to support him. But even for Jackson State, what I'm hoping is, while he's here, they remain dominant, continue to get better. But I hope this job becomes something where it's kind of like the Iron Man suit or whatever, where you pass it to the Ray Lewis or to the whoever, and they can take it and go further, and that name recognition can continue. The same thing with the other schools. I hope that it's just not dependent on just one person. I hope this is a collective shift. And I think that our focus needs to be building the whole SWAC as a whole, so that whenever Dion does leave or whatever, the SWAC, whether it's FBS or FCS, is healthy. And that, I'm not gonna, hold you too much longer. I appreciate the time.
All right, thank you for the call.
All right, thanks.
All right, Mr. Ford, you want to respond to that real quick, and then I'll take caller 225.
Well, I agree. Like I said, for me, there is no other conference with the SWAC. I mean, some people in love with the SEC, some people in love with the Big 10, some people in love with the Big 12. I'm in love with the SWAC. Okay, always have been. I'm in love with the SWAC.
I agree.
Okay, so that's just me.
I agree. I've been to SEC games. There's nothing like SWAC games. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
But let me throw this out, guys. And guys, please don't put Tennessee State in the chat. The word over here in Atlanta is that the SWAC is getting ready to accept 2 more schools. Now, we're hearing that one of the schools could possibly be Tuskegee. Has anybody else heard any talk like that? And if you have, could you please put the other school or what schools you hearing could possibly be joining the SWAC? Because we're hearing that the SWAC is going to expand by 2. If you know anything about this, could you put it in the chat so I can see what are the schools that they're looking at to join the SWAC? Now we're hearing Tuskegee, the possibility of Tuskegee.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. Somebody said Morris Brown. Yeah. Oh no, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Morris Brown just getting the school.
Yeah, they just getting started.
Tuskegee and, somebody said Tuskegee. Imperial Nubia said Tuskegee and Albany State. But the only thing about Albany State's athletic department was taken over by the other persuasion. Yeah. And the word we're hearing is that they're trying to join the conference with Valdosta State. They're trying to stay Division II, and that they want to be in is it the Gulf South? I think the Division II conference is called the Gulf South.
Let me get this other caller.
And Morris Brown, Brandon B. They don't even have a football team.
Let me get this other caller, and we'll get back to that, Mr. Ford. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
All right, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Tyrese.
You said Tyreek?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, this is Tyrese out of Baton Rouge.
What's going on, Tyrese?
Man, I'm listening to the chat, and it's making me sick. Good thing Mr. Ford got on. I just want to ask you a quick question. I guess this will go to the audience too. When a black line or black product hits the market, who are the first people in line to buy it? Black or white people?
You said when a black product hits the market.
Most black owned product.
Yeah, black people.
Black owned clothing line hit the market. What race is normally the first person to line up to get that product?
Black people.
So I don't think it's beneficial for us black folks to holler about join just like the caller said, those mediocre conferences who are no longer the conferences they used to be. Long story short, the SWAC is powerful. Black people, they self are powerful in numbers. The SWAC can come up and be be just like the Big 12 if it wanted to with the right leadership. I think Jackson State and fans need to hold their horses. Like the caller say, it ain't like every game in the SWAC was easy for them. The ULM game, that was a very much winnable game. How many people traveled to ULM? When you're talking about moving conferences, when you're not playing black people getting that black product, the bands, the dancing doors, when you're not getting all that, less people are traveling. And I'm noticing when Southern used to play Tulane, nobody traveled. When Southern went to McNeese, it's in Louisiana, but nobody really traveled. You'll catch more people at the Alcorn game than when they went to McNeese. So to say we're going to move out, that's not a money move. That's an ego move to think you better than your little brother, Mississippi Valley. What you think about it?
Oh, like I said, I've been saying, I love the SWAC. I think if there was a move up, I think I would like to see a HBCU conference on the FBS level. That's what I would like. I would like to have a HBCU conference on every level of football. That's just my personal opinion.
I really want to see what Mr. Ford got to say about this. Say when you think about each school inside the SWAC, right? Mm-hmm. Say you got Southern and you think of their premier sports that are dominant in the SWAC. Say if you got Southern, if you want to take girls basketball, they were good for a span. And football, if you take Jackson State, you got football and women's basketball. Their track team isn't much. I ran track for Southern, just graduated 2 years ago. Our track team didn't do much. You got Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman track is really good. Say if the SWAC brought in a business person, right, to capitalize off of every athletic event and distribute money to those schools, but make the percentages go into those departments. Say Mississippi Valley, they football is probably one of the best sport they have, right? So say if we sending a small percentage of money over 3, 4, 5 years to Mississippi Valley to the school, and they giving a percentage of that money to the football team, right? So say like if when Jackson State plays Southern, a percentage of that goes to the SWAC conference. The SWAC conference needs to distribute that money to the schools to help build facilities. We're not going to get the funding that Ole Miss and LSU get because those schools attract the white people who have bigger enrollment numbers. In order for us to grow, instead of, I coach football now, and I don't like to have the kids to go fundraising. Kids should not have to worry about athletics, worry about academics, worry about doing the best in the classroom, and have to fundraise too. We got to be smarter when we sitting at the table with our numbers, just like on off script when he bringing up the contracts. We not even handling the financial side right. There is no reason I can't go buy a Darius Skelton jersey if I wanted to. We leaving all the money on the table and then want to up and run to the white conferences when you don't even want to play the white team.
Oh, now I agree with you on the apparel, the apparel deals. Like we should be able to buy jerseys and stuff like that with the player's name on to increase the revenue for the school and the players. But yeah, you keep on getting your thoughts out. You know, like I said, all opinions are welcome on this channel. Even if
I want to hear Mr. Ford spill on it. I know
yeah.
he was mentioning
Oh, he's
athletic
still
budget,
on.
right? So say if we capitalize on the things we're not capitalizing on, such as getting better TV deals. Who cares about being on NBC? Fuck, try to get it back with BET or something. See if something like that. We need to capitalize on the money that's being left on the table. The money that's being left on the table can help our schools like Valley and Bethune-Cookman get better facilities. We'll cry and say, well, we don't get from the government, but we'll sit down on our fist and won't provide for ourselves.
I mean, but
did you want me to comment?
Yeah, Mr. Ford, let me say this real quick. Let me say this, Mr. Ford.
Okay, what you're talking about, that starts with the commissioner.
Mr. Ford.
And not only does that start.
Let me say this real quick. BET had their chance. They still have their chance, and they haven't done anything. So we have to wait.
I'm just saying, I'm saying in general, like a general statement. Capitalize on the money that's being left on the table, right? So saying if it's not BET, we need to get some, even if we have to create our own and charge $5 a month and keep that money, the same money we could get from them, we could make that money ourselves because our base is our base. We don't need to go and get these big time television companies when the white folks ain't worried about it. The black people are the ones watching this.
Yeah, it got to be made first. You know, you just can't think of these ideas and just think that it's gonna come out of thin air because
they could make it. It's simple as getting it patented. HBCU sports. You could go watch any sports game you want. They could have media departments at these schools. They could reach out to celebrities. Beyonce does business with FAMU. LeBron James, what's it to him to ask for $2 million or something to get cameras off of work study to students? Let the students film and stream the games onto the HBCU sports platform.
Let me get Mr. Ford on. Hold on just a second. Go ahead, Mr. Ford. You on there?
Okay, listen. When you start talking about the jerseys and those kind of things, that kind of stuff, that goes through your commissioner. The commissioner and his staff have got to get sharper, but also that's the president's council. Because when those teams sign those contracts, there's two signatures got to be on there. It's got to be the commissioner's signature and it's got to be the president's signature. So what we gotta ask for is that we got to get our presidents of these SWAC schools and we got to get the commissioner and his staff to step up. That's what you're asking for. That's what you're talking about. Now, as far as BET, like somebody just said, BET is, when Viacom bought it, all they want to do is put mess on there, like tip drill, and they want to keep us as stupid as possible.
Right.
Maybe we could. I know that they're supposed to be talking. They're doing something with Byron Allen. I keep talking about the Kathy Hughes. I think they should talk to Kathy Hughes. You know, I've said over and over, I think that the SWAC president and the SWAC staff should sit down with Kathy Hughes.
Anything would be great where we got the best opportunity to put our product out to our people and still capitalize on the money.
And you're right about the Ladarius Skelton jersey. We definitely should have, just like we should have the Shadua jersey out, the Travis Hunter jersey out, Aubrey Miller's jersey out. You're right. We should definitely be able to go into a Tanger or into a Walmart and buy those jerseys. Like you said, that's money left on the table.
Yeah. I
agree with that.
Walmart. I went into Jackson Walmart before Southern game when I traveled to Baton Rouge. Went into Jackson Walmart to find me a Jackson State shirt. They don't even sell it. All of that is money left on the table.
Yeah, that's money left on the table, no doubt. But like I said, now that's something that the commissioner's got to step up on, he and his staff, because he has a marketing staff, he has a financial staff, but that's also on our presidents. That president council got to step up too. Because like you said, that's another stream of income that our schools should be making money on.
Caller 870, I'm going to get you next. All right, go ahead and finish up your point, sir.
This is my last question for Mr. Ford. What do you think about how I propose, say, when Jackson State plays Southern, right? And if they say they make $3 million from the game, what percent of that goes to the SWAC commission, the SWAC conference?
Now, you know what?
Yeah, we don't know prices now.
I'm kind of lost on that because now this is what my take was. I thought that if it's a conference game, the home team will take the lion's share of the money, and then, like you said, some of the money will be sent to the commissioner's office, to the SWAC. Now, I'm not sure about that, but I would need to check on that. But I think that the lion's share of the money goes to the home team. Okay, if it was a team outside of the SWAC, they would give them a contract and pay them, the amount that they want to pay them. But when Southern and Jackson play, if it's at Baton Rouge, then the lion's share of the money goes to Southern. Then Southern might share, a tidbit of the money with the SWAC. Now, I'm not sure on that. Let me do my research on that.
What I'm thinking, what would be great, say if 5 or 7% of that money of every athletic event went back to SWAC teams as a whole. So that way we can help our little brother in Mississippi Valley or our little brother in Bethune-Cookman get some of the stuff that they need to help elevate our conference as a whole. You go to Mississippi Valley, it look like a ghost school, right? So we taking money from each athletic event and we kicking it out to those revenue sports at that school. So I don't know how Mississippi Valley basketball is, but if they basketball has been on par, let's contribute some money from these athletic events to get them a new stadium or something. So if they want to play somebody, if they host an event, those teams feel comfortable traveling.
I had to land your plane, brother. I had to land that plane for you. I'm gonna get the other call on. Give me 1 second, Mr. Ford. Hold on.
Okay.
What's going on, Caller? You live? Talk to me.
Hi, this is Lillian from Arkansas. How are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Hey, good. Hey, I had a couple things here to kind of go over because I am a Jackson State alum, and I'm also one that pays my alumni dues. So I've been hearing a lot of things about how people should be upgrading facilities and how we should be doing this and that. And as a person who pays their alumni dues, who periodically goes to campus to see things that are occurring, those things that everybody's been calling out, Jackson State is doing those things. They're upgrading those facilities, not just football. Because if you go on their campus, you can see changes. Brand new tennis courts. Because you know what? Because we want to dominate in tennis. If you go there, you can see the changes. You can see how paying alumni have voiced their frustration. We don't like how the track team. What happened with them? What facilities and what things that they need? Jackson State is doing it. And one of the things that the SWAC needs to be doing is that follow, and I would say this much, follow the playbook. And I'm going to give you a prime example. We know we don't have a lot of money. It was appalling to me when I saw Jackson State budget is $9,000 versus a Prairie View at $9 million versus a Prairie View at $19 million, which makes me think, what would Jackson State be like if their football budget was at $19 million? Okay, so one of the things is that, and I got to give once again, it's the AD and Mr. Ford. He hit it on the head. He said it's the president, the presidents, the ADs, and the coaches. If they're not working in tandem, it's not going to happen. I can honestly tell you, from what I'm seeing at Jackson State, they're working in tandem. They work together as a team. One person mentioned about how marketing, how you should have jerseys, you should do a Sanders jersey over here, whatever. Somebody posted today on Twitter that there they were in Charlotte, North Carolina. Sam's Club is selling Jackson State paraphernalia. They're not selling North Carolina A&Ts. They're saying they're selling Jackson State's paraphernalia. Jackson State don't play nowhere near North Carolina, but because the need is there. I talked to my uncle who's in Richmond, Virginia. He's like, hey, we got Jackson State paraphernalia at our stores. So that tells you something is working properly, whether if it's the media. And I got to give a shout out to Jackson State's social media. That social media campaign is primarily ran by their students to give them groundbreaking job experience. So when they go out in the real world, they already can say, hey, I helped do this. And I got to give them a case in point. I think it was their spring media day when they had all the recruits on campus. That whole entire thing, Kobe Ordner was interviewing all the guys. All that was ran by the students. It wasn't no fancy special team, it was the students. So Jackson State is really harnessing in-house what they have. When you talk about raising funds, a lot of people on here don't know. After every game, and shout out to Avis because she knows, they know what I'm talking about. After every game, Jackson State had a fundraising campaign based on you paid $1 for every point Jackson State scored. So when we had that Florida A&M game, when we only scored 7 points.
Let me say one thing real quick before you finish your point. Hey y'all, let's get the likes to 200. We got 250 people in the chat. Let's get the likes to at least 200. All right, you can go ahead, man.
And not only just likes, make sure you subscribe and also share.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that they had a program. You paid $1 for after every game for every point. So, for example, the Jackson State FAMU game, you paid $7. Now that Alabama A&M game was 61 points. It was time the game was over with. Jackson State started hitting you up and asking you for $61. Here you go. We need that to go towards the athletic budget. You also see with Jackson State, anytime when somebody is in YouTube or somebody posts something about Jackson State, I don't know who this person is, but they will jump in from Jackson State and say, don't forget to pay your alumni dues. Don't forget to donate to the athletic fund.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever they're doing, they're mastering. And what the rest of the SWAC needs is interesting how we're talking about how the SWAC is growing. Let's get it in perspective. Jackson State is growing. Not everybody in the SWAC is growing like Jackson State is. What we need to do is sit down and all the schools get together and share that blueprint. I'm going to give a shout out to Coach Dancy, Mississippi Valley. Mississippi Valley know they needed a new field. You know what? I got to give Coach Dancy credit for something. He said, Coach Prime, I need you to come down here and help me get a new field. If you noticed a couple of days ago, you saw Mississippi Valley, I think Fan Fanatics or whatever they're called, they did a posting. Hey, Coach Prime, we need you to say something else so we can go on and finish getting the rest of this money for this brand new field. We're not at that point in time where we want to, and I got to give once again, Jackson, Coach Prime, Coach Reed, all of them credit. You will see them post and say, we're willing to help others. That's the key thing, is helping others achieve greatness. The question is, sometimes with us in our SWAC schools, our pride and our school pride gets in the way. We're quicker to cut each other down than to go out and help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of our biggest problems in the SWAC. I'm a hardcore Jackson State fan. I'm paying them alumni dues like I should. When they call, if I got it, here you go. I show you how it is. I even gave the Valley because Jackson State asked, hey, y'all, we need to get a Valley. Okay. But again, we are sitting here and we're talking a good game. But if you want those facilities, I'm going to ask everybody in here, stop what you're doing. Go pay them alumni dues. Go donate that money. You got an extra $25, send it back to the school. Because what's going to happen is, and I also want to remind everybody, Jackson State had numbers before Prime came. Jackson State been had numbers. They were leading FCS in attendance before Prime even remotely came. And to be honest with you, it was in one interview, he said that was one of the reasons why he liked Jackson State, because we had the numbers already. If you watch Mississippi State broadcast this past week. Mississippi State, Jackson State is to the point in time that next year they're anticipating Jackson State's attendance will outdo Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They did it at one game. The Jackson State versus Alabama State game outpaced Mississippi State game versus Alabama game. You got folks actually worried that Jackson State is going to blow up. And to be honest with you, if the rest of the SWAC falls into play, now once again, we're not talking about going up maybe in attendance 2,000 or 3,000. You got to remember, Jackson State is at a 40-something thousand level. Our nearest SWAC comparison is at 18,000. We're almost 30,000 more than the next comparison. You looking at it with the rest of the SWAC, their stadiums cannot handle that capacity. Everybody cracks at Jackson State because the vet is old. It is old.
Yeah,
but it holds all of us.
Yeah.
And until the rest of everybody catches up to that level, Jackson State will go off and leave them.
And it's funny that you say that because I was listening to a Mississippi State podcast, and they was on there talking about Jackson State attendance. Like I think they was saying Mississippi State was at 48,000 last year. It was like Jackson State could eclipse that this year. You know, with Travis Hunter being there and, you know, everything that's going on now, they could eclipse that. And so, yeah, they definitely got their eye on what's going on.
And the other thing I'm going to give them a shout out to, Jackson State has a media gold mine. I'll give you a case in point. Jackson State is almost, if you ask me, the reason why Nick Saban was really pissed is because Deion has learned so much from him that literally we're falling in line just like you do. I'll give you a prime example. Let a recruit even remotely mention that he's interested in Jackson State. If you will watch it just like almost like the Alabama fans are, Jackson State has literally trained this fan base that the moment a child says that they want to even remotely be interested in Jackson State, you will see us hitting them up.
Yep.
Talking about DLI. We have literally we have followed, for a sake of a better word, we've almost beginning to start following the Alabama playbook. And the reason why Nick Saban was pissed because we're following it too well. And so you'll see those things. So if the rest of the SWAC can't get on board with that, and and I'll give you a case in point, Jackson State will make moves, and once again they follow policy and procedure. I got to give them credit because that's if you ever watch Coach, and I'm glad somebody mentioned it because Coach knows everybody's watching. If you see Coach and you sit up here and you watch some of their things, he will go over and say, "Act the fool, get crazy, do something stupid. I will drop you if you." He has literally drilled it in them boys. And I give you a case in point. If the rest of us are not willing to follow along with the new game plan, why should one school be held back?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree
because
with the social media thing.
Even in a relationship, you got to know when to let somebody go. When you have outgrown them. And as much as I love the SWAC, if we don't watch it, they're on the verge of outgrowing you, and that's the problem. It's not that we don't want to be in a relationship, but we've outgrown you.
All right.
And like I said, that's it. But anyway, I love your show, and for the females in here, more of us ladies need to call in because we like football too. So.
I appreciate it.
Hey, listen, you have a great night, okay?
All right. You too. Thank you for the call.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Ford, you still on? You want to get the last word?
Yeah, I was looking at the Commissioner's Trophy information, and Prairie View won the James Frank Award, I think, with 140. I think it's 167 points. Jackson State was number 2 at 150. I think Alabama State was at 146. But here's the problem.
Hold on, Ms. Ford, before you go in. Ms. Ford, before you go in. Y'all, we had 184 likes. Come on, we get 16 people to get us to 200. Let's get to 200 likes. 16 more people. Hit the like button. All right, go ahead, Ms. Ford.
Okay, Alabama A&M was out of 12. They were number 10. Alabama A&M's got to do better than this in that athletic department for that commissioner's trophy. They got allotted $12 million. They got to do better than this. I want Arkansas Pine Bluff. They had 95. I'm trying to see. I think it's 98 points. They got to do better. Gramblin's got to do better. Grambling was number 8. Grambling shouldn't be no number 8. Florida A&M is number 6. Florida A&M should not be number 6. Southern is at number 5. Southern should not be at number 5. So we need these teams right here. We need these schools right here. We need a complete program. We don't need all of the emphasis on football or all of the emphasis on basketball. We need a complete program. And these people I called out, we need you to do better as an overall department. Now, I want to touch on something she just said. Now, and I've said this over and over. With Deion Sanders being in Jackson, Jackson State should be the most populated HBC in America. Now, right now, it's North Carolina A&T. I think they got 13,000. Listen, Jackson State should have at least 15,000 students. And FAMU should have FAMU should be at about 15,000. We got to have more growth as far as student population at these schools.
I agree.
Okay, that's one of the things we got to do. Now, we want great sports department. We got to increase the population at these schools. Texas Southern should have 15,000 students. Prairie View should have at least 12 or 13,000 students. So we got to work. Jackson State, no other black school is publicized like Jackson State. Everybody across the country and the world knows about Jackson State. So Jackson State should be the largest HBCU in America. Jackson State should have at least 15,000 students. At least 15,000. Listen, y'all have a good night, okay?
All right. Thank you for the call, Ms. Ford. You know, you're always welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, y'all, we had some good talking points tonight on the show. I agree that Jackson State definitely need to increase enrollment. 9,000. I think I see them having 11,000 by the time the fall comes. I think they're probably going to have 11,000, maybe able to even crack 12, but we'll see. They definitely need to get their enrollment up because, you know, you got too much going on in Jackson for, you know, students are pouring in. They're pouring in Jackson, so the numbers should definitely reflect that. What y'all saying in the chat? Where you going to house them? Oh, they got room. I mean, you're not going to have 15,000 like staying on campus. It's going to be, you know, you're going to have commuter students as well. Appreciate the donation, T-Stamps. Appreciate that. But yeah, y'all, this was the show tonight. I ain't gonna do too much talking after that. We've been on for over 2 hours now. I appreciate y'all tuning in, though. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to it yet. I'll be dropping other videos this week as well. We'll be going live. I'll let y'all know beforehand before I go live. But yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in. JSU got to manage their endowment better. We don't have the resources for a bunch of students right now. So everyone said they ain't seen him to the back room this week. I think the first step would be to be the best of the best in the FCS football. And as Mr. Ford said, have other teams be competitive with the NCAA. Nick ain't worried about SWAC yet. And okay, this is Lillian. She was the female they called not too long ago. Great call. Shout out to Lillian. Thank you for calling, Lillian. You're always welcome to call the show. But yeah, y'all, that's the show for tonight. I'm not gonna keep y'all too much longer. I know it's almost 12 o'clock. People gotta go to work in the morning, you know. So I'm gonna let y'all go. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all like the channel, subscribe to the channel. you know, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. ABC holiday sell out. ABC, you still talking about people selling out? Why you making me people mad up in these comments, man? But anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all have a good night. I'm gone.